You know what time it is? It's time to hang out with Mr. Coop. With Mr. Cooper, with Mr. Cooper, with Mr. Cooper. Get the latest scoop from Mr. Cooper, from Mr. Cooper, from Mr. Cooper. Hang with Mr. Coop, with Mr. Cooper, with Mr. Cooper, with Mr. Cooper. Get the latest scoop from Mr. Cooper, from Mr. Cooper. Yeah.
Welcome to the Big Scoop with Coop. I'm your host, Coop. Season 8 still going strong, people. If you haven't, make sure you go to the website, thebigscoopwithcoop.com, where you can see episodes from Season 1 all the way to Season 8. Everyone that's watching on Facebook, big shout outs to you, facebook.com/the Big Scoop with Coop. Also, everybody's watching on IGTV, what's going on Instagram. You can catch me at Big Scoop with Coop. Also on YouTube, under the Big Scoop with Coop. All right, enough about me, people. Today's guest, she is a comedian. She has been doing a lot of big things. Well-trained comedian, also actress. Her name is Christina Anthony. Guys, so Christina Anthony is a well-known actress and comedian, like I said. You can catch her weekly on ABC on the show Mixed-ish. So make sure you do tune in weekly to catch all her episodes and the show Mixed-ish. And here's a little clip from Christina. And after this, we're going to chat it up with her. All right, enjoy the clip, and we'll be back to talk to Christina Anthony.
The staffing agency set me up with some interviews today. I have to fix my resume. What should I put for special skills?
Easy. Put that you white.
I'm serious.
So am I. Being white is all you need. And you're crazy white. I'm talking Duran, orange juice with the pulp, curse at your mom white.
Welcome back to the Big Scoop with Coop. Of course, I'm your host, Coop. Like I told you before, Season 8 still going strong. And you saw a clip of Aunt Didi already from Mixed-ish. And of course, you know, we have the comedian herself, none other than the one and the only Miss Christina Anthony. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. How you doing, Coop?
Hey, doing well, and yourself?
Good. I'm making it.
Yes. You know, it's been a rough time for the last couple of months. We're going to talk about this coronavirus thing later on. But, you know, how are you making it so far with it? Is your family okay? Everybody's good?
Yeah, we're blessed, and, you know, we have everything we need, and my family here in the, you know, in the area, and also my family back at home in St. Louis and East St. Louis, and then my Mixed family. Everybody, we've been checking in with each other. We're all doing well.
Nice. What about the Ish family?
The Ish family is good. We check in on social media and email, text message. We've wrapped filming. We wrapped maybe 4 weeks ago. So it's just a blessing that we got a chance to finish our show. A lot of shows didn't get a chance to finish taping, so the seasons will be incomplete as you guys are watching TV. But we got a chance to finish. So we have 3 new episodes coming.
Cool. Now, like I said, Christina, a lot of people, they've seen you on the show and everything. They've seen you come up to your stand-ups, everything that you've been doing up in Chi-Town when you first started. But I'm not going to tell that story. That's all on you to tell. But let's go on to start from the beginning, Christina. When did you first realize that you wanted to become an actress?
I think when I was very young, I really enjoyed television and performing. And I remember I used to watch all kinds. I didn't know what sketch was per se, but, you know, like I would sneak and watch Saturday Night Live. They used to have this really old show called You Can't Do That on television. It was like a bunch of like white kids out of Canada doing sketch comedy. And so I used to love like watching all those kind of shows. And I think they run like repeats of Laugh-In. And my parents would always be like, "You're too young to be watching that stuff," but I would be sneaking and watching. And so, it just, you know, my love for comedy started there. But growing up, I grew up in East St. Louis, which is a really small town in Illinois, in Southern Illinois, across from Missouri. And, you know, I don't think we really knew, like I knew who Eddie Murphy was, but I didn't know like how you got on Saturday Night Live. So I didn't become a professional comedian. I think I was very funny my whole life, but I didn't start getting paid to act or become a comedian until I was in my 20s. And that was like 20 years ago.
Wow. Now, Christina, you know what? I remember that show. You Can't Do That on television.
Yeah.
I remember they used to be on stage, and I think they say, like, I don't know the slime will come down,
Yeah,
and they
yeah,
say like water, the bucket of water will knock them down.
yeah,
That was a classic show. I remember watching that on Nickelodeon
yeah.
back in the 80s. I definitely do. Laughing, I remember that also. I mean, I grew up with the classics just like you did. And I think a lot of people that's watching, I hope you guys remember that. And if you don't, tune into it. Go to YouTube, look it up.
Yeah.
But not right now, because you're not going to run away from this interview. You go watch this interview, then check it out.
Yeah.
Now, Christina, you know, like you said, you grew up, you snuck in, you was watching, you know, the shows and everything. And it kind of built, it's like it built your mind up and it built your heart up to become a stronger comedian. Now, when you became a comedian, became an actress, what hurdles did you go through to actually get to where you at today?
That's a great question. I think one of the first hurdles is being the first in your family to do something like this. You know, I come from a family of ministers and educators, and so my mom is a preacher. She's also was a school teacher. My father was an educator. My aunts and uncles are educators, and so to be somebody that's kind of not doing what the family is doing, that's like the first, I think, obstacle. And then the next thing is to find out how to do it, right? Because you know, you can't just say like, I'm a doctor. You still need to go to school. You know, go, as my friend would say, going to McDonald's don't make you a hamburger. You still need to study these things. And so for me, it was my eyes were kind of open. I learned once I moved to Chicago, someone suggested, hey, why don't you just take a class at the Second City? And I was like, what is that? And they're like, this is where they pick people to be on Saturday Night Live. But first you have to learn how to do comedy in a group. And so that's really where I started learning. So for me, the obstacle was training. And they helped me piece my training together and really learn how to write a joke at Second City. And places, there's other schools too, like UCB and some other schools. But there you learn how to write jokes on paper first. And then, and a lot of stand-up comedians too, they write jokes on paper first, and then you try them out in front of the audience. And so that's how you go from just kind of being like that naturally funniest kid in your classroom or funniest person at work to being a comedian who knows the art of crafting a joke. And so once I learned that system and learned how to write jokes and learn how to take what I thought was funny and bring it to the stage, it just really, it was a great experience. And that training, it never leaves you.
Wow. Now, was it hard for you to, you know, switch from that mode of ad-lib with comedy to actually writing it down? Was it hard for you to catch on to it?
Yeah, I mean, some days are harder than others. You know, I'm still, you know, you should still be keeping writing. You know, sometimes I have more time to be writing than others. But yeah, I think for me, improvisation or ad-libbing is, you know, that's my sweet spot. But you know, for projects like the one we're about to talk about, like Mixed Dish, that is an acting job. So they don't need me to write anything. So that's where you also want to build up your skills and learn how to figure out what is funny so that when you're reading someone else's joke, it seems like you wrote it yourself, but you want to be able to perform other people's work. Otherwise, they don't need you for the job. They'll find somebody else who can do it. And so I think that's the other thing that I really have mastered and tried to really learn over the years is, you know, how to play your position, you know, and play your part. Sometimes I'm the writer, sometimes I'm the actor. And learning that, once you learn how to do different jobs and learn which ones to do when, that's the key to it.
Wow, nice. Now, with you starting off in the beginning of your career, did you have any mentors that helped you out in the beginning?
Yeah, I did. I had a lot of mentors, especially Keegan Michael Key. He's a comedian, and Jordan Peele. They came out of the Second City. It's a lot of other great people, but you know, just linking up with sketch comedy, I would say 20 years ago was a very white place to be. And so linking up with people like them who are like-minded and trying to do what you're doing and helping to kind of clear the forest and clear a path for you was so important. So they came through Second City a few years before me. And it's just been phenomenal. I went on to do the pilot for Key and Peele, their sketch show that they had together on Comedy Central. And they're really, it's great to watch them. For me, it was great because I was able to watch them and see, oh, I can bring my point of view as a Black person to comedy, even though it is a white environment. I'm able to bring my point of view and I can talk about what's important to me.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen that's watching worldwide right now, pick up what Christina's saying right now. Go to school. Yes, you can be the funniest kid in class, but you can always learn from this. There's more to learn in comedy. It can go deeper than what you know from a traditional knock-knock joke all the way up to just saying something funny off the top of your head. Do like Christina did. Big shout out to everybody in Second City also that's been catching on, that's watching right now, that was in class with Christina. Big shout outs to all of you also. Now, you know, you did your thing. You went through the school. You started to master comedy. And then the unthinkable happens. You get that call about Mixed-ish. Now, how excited were you, to get that role in Mixed-ish?
I was definitely excited, but I think leading up to Mixed-ish, I had been in Chicago for 13 years, then I moved to LA, and I was pretty sure I was going to book a TV show on the flight to LA. I just knew it. And then I got here and they were like, no, ma'am, you're not. And so I got a day job, but I let everybody in my day job in customer service know, y'all, I'm only going to be here like a year, because I'm about to blow up. And then a year went by, then 2 went by, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 years later. I was done. I was put in the business. I emailed my friends and family, told my reps, my managers and my agents. I was like, I'm done. And my manager was like, you got one more audition. I told my boyfriend about it, the husband now, boyfriend then, and he was like, you could get this. And it was for a spinoff of Blackish, where they were going to go back in time to the 80s and show Rainbow, Tracee Ellis Ross character, growing up. And he was like, it's 8 lines, you could get this. It's a small part, you could get this. And I really wasn't having it, but I did. He worked with me. He's a filmmaker. He directed me in my audition and worked on it, got to the audition, met Kenya Barris, met Tracee Ellis Ross. Anton Cropper was the director. Peter Saji was one of the creators, a bunch of Disney people, and did the audition, did my best. And before I could get back to my day job, my reps called and were like, they loved you. They want to see you again they just hired Tika Sumpter. Could you come and sit next to her? They just want to see you two on camera together and see if you guys look good together as sisters. And I was like, no, because I had already taken my lunch at my day job and I was on thin ice with my boss. And also I had already been here, because I had been here before. People had been like, you were great. We loved you. But then they didn't give me the job. And I knew this real job I had doing customer service was paying my real bills. So my agent was like, please go back. Please go back. So I think I told my boss I left something at the restaurant at lunch. I got to run back. So I went back, met with Tika, did it, left, went back to work, stayed up all night waiting to hear. And my reps called me the next day and they were like, you got it. And I was just shocked. I had not prepared for success. I had just been failing so much. I didn't know what to say. They asked me, was I crying? I'm like, I'm not crying. I'm just shocked. I hung up the phone. I thank God. I called my family, called my boyfriend. And then the reps called back and they're like, why did you hang up? My manager's like, you started 90 minutes. Get up and go to work. Today is the day. And it was a lesson for me, Coop, in stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And also just being prepared. Like there was no time for me to, once I got the call, there really was no time to do anything. It was time to go straight to work.
Wow. Now, how was it, how hard was it for you to keep that faith? You went in, you was doing customer service for many years. Did you really still feel after many years later that you knew that role was coming for you? How did you keep that mindset up and stay positive?
I had definitely lost hope, but the great part was, so I didn't keep it. I didn't keep the mindset. I didn't stay positive. I know this is supposed to be an inspirational thing.
No,
I gave up. But the best thing, I think that one of the best things that happened is that, I surrounded myself. God introduced me to people in my family, in my reps, and in my boyfriend that were like, once I said I was done, they were like, we will push you or drag you over the finish line. And so when I couldn't see it anymore, it wasn't me being like, oh, well, I think I still got it. I was done. And so they literally pushed me over the line. And that's what you have to do, even when you can't hang on and stay in the game. Have people around you who are for you and believe in you more than you believe in you. Because there will come a time where you will. I was so close, the 48 hours leading up to getting mixed dish, I quit. I was just like, no, no, no. And there were people that were like, nah, I'm not gonna let you do this. I'm not gonna let you do this. And they didn't know that this was the job, right? But thank God that they didn't give up.
Wow, I mean, that's deep right there, Christina. I hope everybody's taking notes on this because, as you see, Christina was like, forget it, forget the business. And look at her now. I mean, you catch her weekly on television. I mean, there's nothing but God showing you favor. I mean, and I thank God for that. I mean, that should give hope for other people, they feel like they're in the slumps. They can't do what they want to do. And look at you. I mean, you're a living inspiration for that. And Christina, I got to give you shout outs yourself for doing that. For even though you gave up, you still went back and you did what you had to do. And I love that little move that you did. Act like you forgot something at the restaurant, so you can go sit down with Tika to make sure. Good move on that. Good move on that.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
You got that right. Now on Mixed Dish, when the cameras are not rolling, what is it like? What's the environment of the whole cast? How is it?
We are a very goofy family. So on television sets, this is different from comedy shows and on doing plays. On television sets, on big TV shows, they're constantly giving you food. I think it's to keep you awake because you're so sleepy. So there's a lot of eating. And I'm gonna say right now, the biggest appetizer are the littlest people on the show. They eat all the food up, and the skinniest people on the show, they eat all the food up. So there's lots of eating. And then it's always fun. Like people will come and visit. And there'll be visitors like somebody's parents, mom or dad will come and visit us. Somebody's godchildren will come visit us. And so that's fun too, to be able to, share the show with people's close family. Since we are there all the time together, it's nice to be able to have people's family come see us. And then there is a lot of, we do have fun. So there's definitely a lot of Soul Train lines. There's a lot of electric sliding. I should like, what is this? This is so bogus.
Nice.
But, yeah, there's a lot of SOS band, a lot of Gap band. There's a lot of that. It's a very black show. It's fish, but it's black. It's a black show.
Now I had Ethan on the show probably about 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And he was telling about the situation when he asked Tika about what was said on the wall. It was a phone. He did not know about that retro phone, and
yeah,
I guess it was a rotary phone. That's how he was describing it. Now, do the kids on the show, are they catching on to the 80s a lot, in your opinion?
Yeah, they're getting more. Yeah, they're getting more used to it. It's interesting though. We'll see things that they bring on, and they'll ask, "Is this a joke? What is this?" Like Arica trying to figure out how to put a tape into a boombox. She was like, "I just use my phone for my music." She doesn't even remember CDs. Like, it's just crazy. Or just even like I remember some song came on. And maybe it was like, She's a Bad Mama Jamma. And Mimi was like, why does everyone know this song? I'm like, bro, this is a jam. So yeah, but now they're learning these things. So it's cool to watch them. And it's also really cool to watch them grow up. But it's also fun to like relive your childhood through them. Like, I think Erica got a Trapper Keeper and she was like, what's the big deal? I'm like, girl, that's a Trapper Keeper. What is wrong?
That was gold back in the day.
I'm like, girl, this got Velcro on it. She's like, everything has Velcro on it. What is the big deal? What is wrong with y'all? I'm like, Velcro shoes? This is huge. But yeah, it is fun. It's fun to watch them grow up, and also fun to watch them be like, you old people, why do you like this stuff?
That's crazy. Now, Christina, I ain't gonna lie. I remember when I was back in school, because you brought up the Trapper Keeper thing. I remember when I was back in school, you had the Trapper Keeper, then you had like the generic kind. And people used to walk around and look at your notebook like, oh, you don't have Trapper Keeper?
They'll roast you.
Yeah. Like if you're wearing cookies. You remember how you called them cookies back in the day? Man, you got roasted off of Trapper Keepers. I remember that. That is crazy. Now, Christina, I'll catch you off guard with this one. Now, if you could go back in time right now to the 80s, and you could spend one day in the 80s, what would you do? Even though you do it weekly on television, but off camera, what would you do?
Okay, wait, am I a child in the 80s or am I a woman in the 80s?
No, you're a woman. You're in a time machine. You're Marty McFly, Back to the Future. You're going back.
Okay, I already know. I'm going with my aunties who they had a fancy black Cadillac, and we're probably going to a Charlie Wilson concert for sure.
Wow.
Yes, and I'm wearing makeup the whole nine. I'm doing it. I would love to watch them get ready and go places. I'm like, please let me go. Please, please, please.
That's crazy. Now, I got to ask them, because a lot of people wants to know this. Is Christina and Aunt D, are they almost like the same person?
Oh, no. I think I would be kicked out of my family if I was reaching in that much. I mean, I probably, actually, maybe I do. I have nieces, and I am obsessed with, I have three. I'm obsessed with them very much the way I am obsessed with, the way Denise is obsessed with her nieces and nephew. And I do wear wigs. Wait, Coop, maybe we have discovered something. Maybe I am Denise.
See?
Yeah. But I will say this, Denise does not, I will say Denise is kind of, I want to say this delicately. She is a little bit of a skeezer. Is skeezer the right word? Like a hoe a little bit. And I would like to think, as a newly married woman, I've gotten myself together. So Denise she's kind of wild. She's kind of out there as far as the dating scene. She's living her best life. So in that sense, we're not the same. And Denise hates her job, and I love my job.
Wow. Good comparison. Good comparison, a good contrast. You're right about that. Now, the big thing is that everybody make sure you do tune in to Mixage every week. You got to catch the episodes. If you have not watched this show already, stop sleeping on a rock. Watch it. If you don't know about the 80s, you're going to learn. You're definitely going to learn. Now, I want to know, Christina, for my own personal benefit, is it true that you are doing an episode with the 90s in Mixage?
Oh yeah, well we did a little. It already happened actually. We Anthony Anderson and Tracee Ellis Ross, who played Dre and Rainbow on Blackish as adults, came to Mixed-ish. It's I think it's not last week's episode. It's the episode before last.
I missed that one.
Yeah, check it out. It's super brief, but yeah, we go to the 90s, and yeah.
Jeez. So how was that, like, as far as it goes for the rest of the cast to jump from 80s to 90s? Was it really a smooth transition for everyone? Well, not the adults, but more of the kids, because I know the adults have lived through every era. So
yeah,
how was it?
Yeah, so the kids didn't join us for that since Tracee was Rainbow in that episode, and so we were, I guess if it was the 90s, we were like 10 years older. And so, yeah, so they changed our hair and wardrobe to more reflect the 90s. The biggest change, you should check it out, though. I think the biggest change is probably for Mark, Paul, and Gary Cole, the dad and grandpa, because let's face it, Black women 10 years later, how much different we going to look?
Yeah, true.
Tika and I look the same. But, come on. But it was really great. And Anthony looks hilarious. And yeah, it's worth a peek. Yeah, go check it out.
Now, please tell me Mark didn't go back to Zach Morris. Please tell me he didn't.
Yeah, no, he didn't go to Zach Morris because technically he was in his 40s or 50s.
That's right, because older. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Jeez, my mom went back 90s all the way for him.
Yeah, it is surreal to be acting with Zach Morris.
So. Ooh, nice. Now, you know what? Big shout outs first. Big shout outs to Tika Sumter. I got to give her that. She's doing big things also. Mark, if you watching, big shout outs to you too. Christina, I'm not going to lie. You're doing big things, and it's crazy how your career has blown up so quickly. Even though you've been in the game for a minute, you went to school, you learned. But I mean, this show, the Ish family is like blowing up, and I think it's helping a lot of modern day families that have younger kids learn about how their parents grew up at this time, and I want to say thank you to you and everybody else. You're helping out these kids to learn what happened back in the day. I got to give you shout outs for that.
Oh, thank you so much. And we have our crew and our writers are just amazing too. Every time I get the script, it's so much nostalgia, but yeah, it really brings you back and things that you just remember. And even especially like times like this, having a moment to just think about this is a better time for a lot of us, it was a better time in our lives. And that 80s childhood, just having that foundation, it's nice to share it with other people.
You got that right. You definitely do. Now, how do you feel far as it goes going back to, the comedy side of you before the whole actress part come in? Is it harder for you to do like stand-up comedy, or is it harder for you to act? Which one was harder for you, and which one is more pleasant for you?
I wouldn't say one is harder than the other. Acting is so easy just because I've been taught you have to write this material first before you can perform it. As a stand-up, when you're coming up, you write your own material. Maybe if you get like huge, like Richard Pryor, other people might write jokes for you. But, you have to put in that work and write those jokes. At the same time, acting feels, it's not easy by any means, but it is a little bit easier because I just do whatever they have written down. And so I'm free to kind of play with the material, and I haven't had to spend a lot of time in the trenches testing the material, versus stand-up. And even with like writing sketches, you need to go out and show it to people. Other people need to read it. You need to perform it. You need to find out where the laughs are, see what's funny. You keep doing the same material over and over again. And with mixage, the writers go through that process, but I don't. So by the time it comes to me, it's perfectly shiny and perfect. And, it's a cake that's already baked. I'm just putting a few sprinkles on it and giving it to you. I don't do anything. So, yeah, but that does make it, there are long hours, and there's so many people that, it takes, I think it's like 175, 200 people that help make one episode of Mixed Dish come together. And so in that sense, learning how to work with other people and all of these people that have such important roles, if anyone's missing, we cannot move forward,
Wow. I did not realize how important it was and how many, people is behind the scenes is actually putting this all together. That's huge right there. That's very huge. Now, Christina, like I said, we know you're doing mixage. We know you're doing comedy. Are there any other projects that you want to tell your fans or your supporters about that you're working on?
Yeah, I'm not sure when this will come out, but coming up soon, I am going to be hosting, it doesn't even have a name yet, but it's going to be a sketch comedy show. It's moved to online. Okay. So that'll be coming up. I think it's coming up in late April. We're still waiting to kind of hear about that. And then I'm working on my own comedy special myself, writing that. And so I hope to have some new things out for people really soon. Right now, while you and I are taping this interview, we're not really leaving the house. California's on a lockdown, and so we can't leave our homes. So the industry, a lot of projects have stopped. So we're trying to figure out how to do some projects online, and then a lot of performers were writing new material, trying to figure out how to get it out to people to enjoy.
Nice. Everybody, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you keep up with Christina if you want to know what else she's doing. The new comedy joints is dropping out. Make sure you tune in to them. Make sure you keep up with Christina so you'll know what's going on. You don't want to miss this at all. Now, Christina, what's the best way for your fans to actually follow you on social media?
Oh, I love Instagram because I love pictures. So come to Instagram. I'm at Teeny Anthony on IG. That's at TEENYANTHONY.
Everybody, make sure you go follow her. Now, don't go follow her right now. After this interview,
right.
Don't follow her. Yes, make sure you do. You want to keep up with Christina. She's doing big things, and I guarantee she's probably going to announce it on Instagram when everything actually comes intuition for what she's actually getting done right now. Follow her, keep up with her. Now, also, I know you don't have a lot of time. You're a busy woman, even though in quarantine, there's stuff you're working on. But what advice would you give any male or female that wants to become an actor or an actress or even a comedian?
I think, first of all, is, training is important. And it doesn't have to be going to like some super expensive acting school out of the country or, anything like that. But learning how to do what it is you want to do is so important. That way you can replicate it. Again, just kind of like being a funny person in your friend group, that's great. But if you really want to go to the next level, learn how to replicate jokes, learn how to write jokes. And there's a lot of like great online classes that you can take, and a lot of things are online even more so now. Um, and then I think the other thing too is watching a lot of comedy or watching a lot of acting or whatever it is you want to do. Observe it. Watch people who are better than you doing it. And I think that's the thing too, is always remaining humble and knowing that there's tons of people that are better than you at this. Find those people. And now the really interesting thing, opportunity that's happening right now is with everyone, especially in California and New York being on lockdown, a lot of these artists are at home and they are answering their own social media and their own emails. Their publicity teams or web teams are not doing it. And so you might be able to reach out to them and ask them for advice. They're taping interviews like this. They're doing like getting on live and just doing like question and answers and workshops. So now is even the time over the next, however long this is going to be over the next month or so, you can actually access these people as like online mentors. They might not chit chat with you, individually or every day, but the odds of you getting a chance to like see somebody sitting at home, like what Coop and I are doing, and just having a conversation about how to break into the business or how to go to the next level, and that's in any field. Like I took a cooking lesson with Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade's chef because he's like, I'm stuck at home. Who wants to learn how to cook? So there's a lot of opportunities, I think, to find mentors and work with people right now.
Wow. Everybody, I hope once again, take notes of this. Christina just told you, this is the time. If you're trying to reach out to someone, it's not guaranteed they're going to answer back, but they have control over their own social media. If you have a question for these people, make sure, reach out to them. You never know what's going to happen. You may get something back. So do it while this quarantine is in, because when the quarantine is over, trust me, these people will be out and about. So make sure you get it in now. This is your time. Now, also, Christina, this is the last segment of the show right here. It's called Take the Floor. So I will give you up to 2 minutes to say whatever you want to say. No questions asked. Christina, take the floor.
Okay. Well, first of all, Coop, thanks for having me, and thanks to your viewers. I'm so excited. I don't know you, but I'm excited about your futures. What I want you to know is, one, because we're in the quarantine, stay inside if you're able to. And if you're not able to, we always pray in God's protection over you, but make sure you're taking your own precautions and masking up and wearing gloves and washing your hands. We will make it through this together. The other thing I want you to know is to always remember to, while you're keeping your faith and checking in on your friends and your family, keeping your circle tight is totally fine. But like I mentioned before, I want to make sure you guys are keeping a circle that is going to be building you up. And especially if you're in a romantic relationship, shout out to my wonderful husband. They should be pushing you towards your dreams and towards your goals. And I'm a great example of that. And so make sure that as you have your friends around you and even your family, sometimes we can't be super close to our families, but the people that you choose to keep close to you, make sure they're pushing you towards your dreams and your goals and making you better. There's a saying, iron sharpens iron, and then you should be doing the same for them.
Wow, this deepness, people. Make sure you do go do this. Reach out, push each other while you can. Just like Christina said, positivity is what counts in this situation right here in these days and times. And even when the quarantine is over, continue to push each other. It's nothing but positive. Don't hate on each other. Help elevate each other. So, yeah. Christina, I want to say thank you for once again for coming on the show, and I'd love to have you back on in the future.
Yes, thank you, Coop.
No problem. All right, guys, make sure you stay tuned. Soon I'll be announcing who the next guest is. And all right, people, make sure you stay safe, stay healthy, stay well on the next time on the Big Scoop with Coop.